Good morning, guys. Welcome to Words from a Friend podcast. I'm your host, Marty Carey, and this is the podcast that follows my book, Words from a Friend, a daily guide to a purposeful life. It's available at Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com. We are on a 365-day inner journey together. I'm so happy to have you along, and we're on day 46 of that journey. Today is the February 16th message, and it's called The Power of Your Apology. The power of your apology. You have trouble apologizing? That means you're always right? Does that mean you're always right? Your ego will say that. Or it just doesn't want to apologize because it does not want to take account for itself. The ego does not like to take account for itself at all. No, only the soul takes account and says, you know what? That's where the apology will come from. Your character grows when you are able to apologize. Right? And able to forgive. Those are the two release valves that we have to keep energy flowing. Flowing so we don't trap it in here and then carry it around like that heavy luggage we're always talking about. Okay? So your energy matters. Looking at your energy matters. An apology matters more than you'll ever know. So many people never get the apology they deserve. Right? Right? And many times we don't give that apology that they deserve. And many times it's just ego all the time, living in a pattern. Living in a pattern. Break the pattern. Break that pattern in yourself. That's a freedom. It frees you. It's not something that have to admit you're wrong, you know? I mean, if you can apologize in time, when you're doing these things or forgive in time, you're going. You're staying in the flow. You're staying in that stream. Your oars are in the boat. You're letting it carry you. That's how you stay in the flow. That's part of your higher tools, apology and forgiveness. And they build that beautiful character that allows you to have a more beautiful life because you're teaching people that we're all wrong. Good Lord, man. You know, a lot of times. And you have to be able to apologize. And you have to be able to forgive knowing that you're wrong a lot, so other people are going to be wrong a lot too. And they're going to get out of their center. And they're going to want to, be their conditioning. Be it. Because they don't know that that's their conditioning. They just think that's them and who they are. No. We're a bundle of our own conditioned selves. And in this kind of circumstance, I do this. And in this kind of circumstance, I do that. And it's all conditioned in there. Instead of taking a look at it and saying, how can I recondition this old self and say, how can I upgrade it and update it so that it is a more beneficial presence to myself first? This is a nice house to live in. I'm not carrying around a bunch of horrible things that are just taking up space in my house that I haven't been able to let go of, or I haven't forgiven, or I haven't been able to apologize for. That's how you let it out. That's how you let it out. It affects our health, It affects our health not being in the flow. It sure does. The mind-body connection is absolutely real. The worry, the fear. It's dis-ease. We are out of ease. Ease. Content, centered self. That's our natural self. That's where we are naturally when we're not in fear. We're centered, we're feeling good. We're giving, right? And we're forgiving, right? That's our best self. Think about that person in your life that is just that steady rudder of that vibe. We can all name one in our lives. We can all name one, many in our lives, right? You admire how that grandmother of yours or that grandfather or your parent that they've learned through lots of turmoil and lots of turbulence and lots of mistakes and being wrong, that there's a lot of bullshit to let go of so that you're not creating with it, so that you're not creating your life from it. Okay? So, how's that for an opener? The power of your apology. When you finally recognize that we all share a dark side called our dark side, Ego can seem personality can seem very light, right? But still be carrying that dark self. And It's not real. That's when you have the manipulators of the world and the narcissists, right? They can seem, nice and fun and all this stuff, and then then it's just a controlling mechanism, right? Control is what's most important, right? So that's what the ego wants, and it can't even control itself, but it wants to control others, so that it feels in control. If I can get others in control, I feel like I got a purpose here. It's to keep others in control, but I don't have to be in control. That's the ego. Plays both sides of the fence. Plays for you, supposedly, but not really, and against you, definitely. Okay? So it's misperception, and it starts with not knowing who you really are. The ultimate misperception is not realizing that you are the light, living a human experience, and in contrast to that light. Darkness is the contrast to our light. When you balance those two things and you can merge these seeming dichotomies, that's where you get the yin and the yang, right? There's a little of each in both while we're here. So when you can balance those things and realize, oh boy, numbskull of an ego, put me down, said I was less than, because it could puff you up too and say that you're more than, but it can bring you down saying that you're a lot less than you really are. And I think that's where a lot of people live, thinking that they're a lot less than they really are, because they just don't know. You may not know. You may not have jumped into that self yet, that higher self, as a consistent path. But that's okay. You're here, baby. That's it. You're on the path. You're on it, because you're on your own side for a change. You're on your own side for a change. Okay. All right. We actually elevate. All right, when we finally recognize that all share a dark side called the ego, we'll just see that just like ours, everyone else's gets out of control from time to time. We actually elevate others' ego when our own is out front and expressing its energy. Complaining, bitching, moaning, complaining. Does that sound like solution? No, it doesn't sound like solution. It sounds like, let me get out of here. This is a nightmare, this energy, right? Because it is. It's just low vibe. Low vibe. Would you rather have a nice vibe when you're working or out and playing or with your family? Create it. You take over that energy. You're only controlling your own, right? You're not controlling others. But if you come up here, that's where we normally resonate as what we call a good day, a good time. Right? It's the higher energies. You bring in some of that awesome humor of yours, funny story, whatever that is, a hug, letting people know that you're there for them. That higher way, bring that in. The other luggage shows up once in a while, doesn't it? Don't let it show up too much, that luggage. Let go of that luggage. Unpack it. Throw it out the window like a bad relationship. You found out they were cheating on you, because that ego does cheat on you. It cheats on you. It's the cheater inside. You want the real thing. You want to pass the real tests that life presents to you. You want to pass them, because in passing them just means you overcome them and you say, I'm getting back up. You passed another test. You got back up. You got back up. You did what it took. You did the inner work. And you got back up and said, no way, I can't do that anymore. My light will not let me stay there. I am miserable there. And it says, get up. Get up, let's get going. Apologize, forgive, move on. This is what your light will say. It's a growing presence. It's for growth. And growth always moves forward. Okay? Always moves forward. That's the light at the end of every tunnel. It's your light. It's your own light. It's God's light. God's light and your light is the same light. You are a unique aspect of it, right? Like looking at a prism, it's different lights, but it all comes from that one light. All right? And that's your power. Never forget that. That's your power. Excuse me. So our job is to recognize when we are out of our true self, indulging in our darker energies, indulging. Bitching, moaning, complaining. Being mean just for the sake of it, right? Because you feel like it, because you're feeling like you're in a crappy mood, and so you want to take it out on somebody, and you want to vent that out, but not in a good way. Oh, man. No. No, sir. That's the trip you're on. No. Nope, don't do that anymore. Let that go. You're putting your darkness right out front. It's going to come right back to your door in ways that almost immediate many times. Almost immediate, when you screw up. It's just about how you're treating other people. How are you walking in life? How are you walking in life? Are you going to be a beneficial presence, or are you going to be tearing others down to make yourself feel big? That kind of stuff. No, that's not a spirit walking through this world. That's not a spiritual warrior. That's an ego not knowing who they are. Just asleep. Just asleep. Just asleep. And they're eventually going to wake up. We all eventually wake up. Maybe not this lifetime, but we do. And it's our time. And this is a big time right now that we're going through. It's like the Great Awakening, everybody calls it. It's just that we're all seeing it for what it is and what it's been forever. We still haven't gotten rid of war. We still haven't gotten rid of this stuff after centuries of doing the same pattern. The Matrix, the same. Okay, new leaders, great. New stuff? No, same stuff. Same stuff. Right? The Matrix. They want to keep it in place. We're busting out. We're busting out of that prison. It's a prison of our own mind. And we're influenced to stay there every day. We're influenced and said, stay here. Look at all this fun we're having watching all this misery. Oh, God. It's disgusting. You are the light. Seek the stuff that makes that bright. And that's what you serve up. Your apple pie self. As much as possible. I'm not saying you're always going to be there. I'm not unicorn thinking. I'm saying I've seen it. I see people do it every day. They decide to bring that self, even though they may have had a tough morning or whatever. They're doing it for themselves, too. The ones that recognize that they have to do that because they have to do it for themselves. They don't want to be in the shitty soup with other people who don't care about being in the shitty soup, who kind of live there and like to live there. Some people are perfectly happy being miserable, and you're not going to be able to do anything about that. But that's not your task. Your task is to brighten yourself, okay? And let that emanate. And that's enough. That's enough. It's going to come out of you anyway in beautiful ways when you're living up there. It's going to come out of you in many, many beautiful ways. Many beautiful statements, many beautiful gestures. That's your gift. Your gift is your light, okay? And when we learn to wield it and live in it and embody it, and that's just us, the way we are, as much as possible. It's our consistent gesture. It's your consistent gesture, all right? That's a good one. Your consistent gesture. Make that your consistent gesture. Okay. All right, our job is to recognize when we're out of our true self, indulging in our darker energies. When we express these energies, we pluck the same string in others, and an ugly drama is formed. Pluck the same string, like a tuning fork, right? You got something, you complain about, the other person goes, oh yeah, I'm going to get in on that complaint. Let's bring this whole show down. If left unchecked, we usually add more and more dark energy, like anger, fear, hate, jealousy, right and wrong, and the cherry on the cake is usually a pile of good old-fashioned judgment. Judgment. Everybody fears being judged. Everybody fears being judged by others. Everybody's different. Everybody thinks different. Everybody's, walking in a different costume. But at the base of it all, we are one family. And if you can find that and find the commonality in whatever moment you're in, find the commonality. If you're a quick finder of commonality, you are a really nice person because you're looking to understand. You're seeking to understand instead of judge. Right? We always want to judge what we first see. How about how can I help you? In our business, it's always how can I help you? It's my pleasure to help you. Right? That's such a beautiful education I got in the hospitality world. Like I say, you learn to dance for your nickel because you have to be in front of every person, every kind of walk of life, waiting tables and being in the public, weddings, all that stuff, right? So you better learn to value that light in other people, that namaste mindset. That's where you connect. That's where memories are made. I still see a lot of couples that have gotten married at our places, Crooked Lake House and everything. And they say, wow, we had a great day. We had a great day. Yeah. And we set out to have a great day. We intended on it. And that's how we'd make it happen. We intend to do it every time. And, for the most part, not everything's perfect all the time. But you know what? You get a good, well-oiled machine in the higher level of thinking and being hospitable in your own life, right? Like the maitre d' of your own self. That's it. You live in a beautiful house. That house is just going to give beauty, right? You got to clean that house out so everything in there you like living in. You got to like living in this body. And like I said, a lot of times we can clutter it, get all cluttered, hoarders of negativity and old wounds and old grudges and old past hurts and past selves that you haven't been able to kick out, or old habits that are hurting you instead of helping you rise. It's all a choice. It's all a decision. There's only two. There's really only two. You choose your light. You understand the darkness. You see it for what it is. You pray on it for other people. And if they're in front of you and you can help them, that's what you do. But with your family, and we can only be so many places every day and one day at a time. So who's in front of us on that day? Then be good, as if you've chosen it. Whatever you're in, act as if you've chosen it, and then bring your light to it. Because that's what we have to do. That's what life is, We say it's all unpredictable, but what comes to us is always a gift, even if it's wrapped in an ugly wrapper at first. Okay? Might feel like a little challenge to you, but if you bring your light to that challenge, you're going to transform it. You're going to take the negativity and you're going to turn it around somehow. You're going to transmute the energy from negative to positive. You can do that. You can do that in yourself. And when you learn to do that in yourself, you can really help other people. You can really help other people because you got to just direct them back to their own truth. Tell them the truth. What are you doing in this mindset? This is garbage mindset. It's garbage. I've always told my kids that. You're in a garbage mindset. And it's going to affect everything in front of you. And I'm not saying that to be judgmental at all, because I and everybody else has garbage mindsets, right? We do. And we have to, like I said, make a choice. Do I want to stay in that garbage mindset? Can I raise myself? Turns out you can. Turns out you can. I got a book that says you can. That's not enough proof for you. Okay. The fastest way to any resolution in these moments is, of course, the apology. The apology is simply recognition of temporary insanity of our ego and its effects on ourselves and others. You're always apologizing for your ego. You're never apologizing for your soul. Your soul is the light. That light is just already beautiful, grand. It's not going to do anything the ego is going to attempt to go after. Ego wants to win. To win. Compete, compare, and win. That's it. Compete, compare, and win. Okay, what's outside of that? Everything good. Everything good. Why would you compare yourself to other people? You're unique. If you're ever going to compare yourself, say, man, I'm blessed. I have it so much better than other people. And I know people that have nothing, and they say, I'm so blessed. That is just, when I hear that, I go, that person knows. That person knows God. They do. Of course they do. Okay, when we speak and act from our view through these lens of the ego, we say hurtful things. We raise ugly perceptions of others, and we usually damage potentially wonderful relationships. Right? Like I said, you could be a great arguer, but at what expense? At what cost? The ego will always tell you the same story. It's them. It's not me. They caused this. It's not my doing. Why? While this may or may not be true, our overreaction and elevation to a 10 on the ego scale is our responsibility. It's our responsibility. Ego is the one that just seems to defend. It defends. It's a small self trying to defend what? Itself, the conditioned self, which isn't even real, right? You don't need to defend your soul. That's what you're trying to defend. Your soul is the most powerful part of you. That's why you wield it instead of hide it and try and protect it with your ego. Boundaries, yes, but boundaries are made strong just by your soul. Your soul knows how to not put up with garbage in the nicest of ways. I've seen my mom do that. I've seen her. It was the kindest get out you've ever heard. The kindest, okay, it's time to go. It's the kindest goodbye, right? It's the boundaries in a velvet glove. She was boundaries in a velvet glove. You know, sometimes it got her walked on, but she knew who she was, and she knew her strength, and she kept it. So that's what it's all about. The ego will always tell you the same story. In these times of self-reflection, we must first get back to our center, calm the heck down, and seek out our spirit side for the highest answer and resolution. This is also known as the high road. Taking the high road. Well, what's the high road? You know, sometimes you say that taking the high road. I felt weak taking the high road. I felt really weak taking, because I really wanted to say everything that I could ever say. And you know, I'm taking the high road. Because what's down there in that low road wants to keep you down there. And if you go down there and you let all that garbage out, yeah, you'll feel good. Maybe you got to let it out. Maybe you do. Okay? And but that's maybe the final nail. So just remember that. You let a lot of garbage out. People don't apologize for it, nor do they forget it. They file it away in their ego file. What this person did to me. This person disrespected me. And it's in there, no matter how long you live. That's what the ego does, you know. So what you've got to do is that filing cabinet that you've got, you can form the boundaries with it, but burn it. All right, let the light in. You can keep your boundaries. You can keep all that stuff, but the grudges, pull them out of there. Let them go. Let all that shit go. Okay. You're gonna love your house, your new house that you're gonna move into this year. Okay. The apology is right up here with forgiveness when it comes to a spiritual solution. It frees both parties of a drama in literally seconds. You know, you can get as heated gets, and you go, listen, I'm sorry. I am so sorry. I am not in my best head today, and I'm taking it out on you. And the other person can go, it's fine. It's fine. Now I understand. I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were going through that. Right? But if you're willing to apologize, and the other person isn't magnanimous, so what? You have cleared it for yourself. It's the same reason we forgive. You know, you might not forget, but the forgiveness is for you first. It's for you to be able to clear out the house and say, I'm not going to hold on to this garbage energy because that's only hurting me. It's like hatred only hurts you. Your hatred, you think you're hurting the other person by hating them, when in fact you're holding hatred in yourself, and it's like a hot coal in there, and it just keeps you away from your tools, keeps you away from your best, keeps you away. That's what they want. They press hatred every day, and we got to hate something, don't we? Don't we have to hate something? Yeah, we have to hate evil, and that's part of it. You know what I mean? It's part of it. It's part of the evil. The ones that are causing the hatred and proliferating it. Imagine if it was the other way around and the news was what we're doing good for the world and really doing good for the world and good for each other. And if peace actually broke out, I don't think TV would cover peace breaking out. I really don't think the news would cover it. Right? They don't make money on peace. They make money on conflict and our attention in it. Okay? That's how they make money. It's all ratings, attention. What are we giving our attention to every day? We got to spin out of that. We got to spin out of that matrix. We got to spin out of that hamster wheel. Okay? Turn on your light. Love thy neighbor, even if you don't like him. Love him in the namaste way, from afar. Right? How do you know you're not going to come out of the house and they save your life somehow? Are you going to hate them then? You may. They saved your life. That's when the two souls realized that they were souls all along, and what was in between them was silly. It was their own egos competing to be right about earth stuff that took us away from each other, separated us, and pushed us into disbelief that we are a family. Pushed us into that disbelief. Bullshit. Okay, never, 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 never let these... I might have done one extra never there. Never let things go down this path with friends, family, co-workers, and even strangers. You give away your power of light to the darkness when you choose a grudge, further expansion of a drama, or cutting people out of your life because of what could have been easily resolved with a simple, heartfelt apology. You may not be wrong about the core issue, but you are wrong for using your ego or false self to try and solve the issue. This is what you're apologizing for. You know, here's the favorite one. I'm sorry, but... I'm sorry, but you're still an asshole, right? I'm sorry, but... Well, if you're really sorry, you're going to just say it because of what you brought to it, all right? And the judgment for what they may or may not be after that, let's leave that. Let's leave that up to God. You say, I'm sorry for what I did. That's it. You don't have to expect an apology back. You don't. You're basically just saying, I'm sorry for my part. Then you're free. Free to go. Free not to hold any guilt because you've apologized for your part. You know? And the other person may surprise you and say, I am sorry too. I love you. Right? Come here. Hey, crazy bastard. Come here. All right, let's see, where'd we go? You may not be wrong about the core issue, but you're wrong for using your ego to solve it. When we do this, this is what you're apologizing for. When we do this, an amazing thing happens. The other party, in most cases, will instantly lower their sword as well, and a solution based in truth will emerge. We don't often give it that shot. We don't often give apology because we're quite certain that we wouldn't give one, so why would I give one now? I'm not going to expect one. I don't care. I just want them to know my ire. Right? You know what I'm talking about. We all do it. Guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. But what's the better way? What brings light to our life? What makes our life beautiful? Those decisions to stay in our center and do our best. You know, you're going to fall off that train, but you get back on it. Get back on it, okay? Then it's just going to become, you're in the way. You're in your own way without being in your own way. You're in the way, but you're not in your way, okay? Space clears up, things get smoother, you start flowing, all right? The other party in most cases, the dark energy is cleared and higher places reached. You will be respected for your higher choice and will be looked upon as a wise, mature member of your friends, family, and co-workers. Blessed are the peacemakers. So the saying goes. You want inner peace, you better know how to apologize and forgive. Those are the release valves, like I say. Those are the ones. Nobody wants to. Those are the hardest ones for the ego. Why would I apologize? They're wrong. They're nut heads. You know? Right? Okay? Is that who you want to leave with? Is that your character? Is that your character? That's not character. It's a character for sure. But put your soul into stuff, and now you have character. Good character. A character that helps is the character to live in. A character that helps, not hurts. Right? Do you want to be friends with that person? Always be quick to apologize when temporary insanity of your ego kicks in. I'm not saying over-apologizing. I know people who apologize before they say anything. I'm sorry, but can I? You know, right? Don't over-apologize. But when you're wrong, make sure that your character steps up front. Best you can, even if your voice is shaking, right? Say what you need to say. Okay. All right. This energy we all possess has no place in our lives other than a signpost to get back to the high road, right? Our ego. We know when we're off, we're like, oh man, I'm about to do something I should apologize for, and my ego may not let me. The double whammy. Use your ego as a GPS that leads you straight back to your best self. Like a GPS. That's your soul, is your GPS. Your inner compass. Your inner compass. You got one, baby. You got one. And you're from heaven. You're from heaven. God gives us all a compass. Okay? When you tune into that light inside, that compass will point north, baby. Right? It will. It'll align. It'll align you. And next thing you know, you're making better decisions. You're leading a brighter life. And you're looking forward to it. You're looking forward to it. You're looking forward to things in your life instead of just going, oh, what's this day going to bring? No, you become the captain, baby, and you lead with that. Lead with that. Full steam ahead. All right. Let's see. CTA. If you've used this ugly side of you recently to win an argument, negatively compete, backbite, or spread a dark perception of another, apologize. Apologize. Can you do it? Or are you just going to go, no. Maybe you are. Free yourself from the energy. Take off the foggy glasses and see the truth. That we are all struggling with the same stuff, just in varying degrees. We all experience the same stuff, for the most part. Some far worse than others. Some far worse. All right? And so try to be that lighthouse for somebody, right? You don't know what people are facing at home. In our industry, people face terrible things at home. Terrible things at home. And our hospitality family becomes a second family to them. A place where they can come and be free to be who they are without judgment and laughing and finding a Shangri-La workplace. We're so grateful for that, and you can do that in your own life, in your own home, in your own business, everywhere, every area of your life when you become that spiritual warrior. The warrior is the one, like I said, the warrior is not out there slashing away at the outer world. The spiritual warrior is slashing away that what no longer belongs, so the light can just emanate to the rest of the world without doing anything but being itself, which is what you need to do. Be yourself. Be yourself. Be happy being that self. Happy with the growth you've achieved so far, inner growth, and happy that what we're doing right now in going through this year together is going to bring you more peace, more inner peace, because you understand that that's the gold and that you're already it. And to uncover that inner peace, you have to strip away the stuff that's preventing it from being felt. Okay? We do that one day at a time. Loving ourselves as God loves us. Saying yes as God says yes, we can. We have to say yes, we can too. All right? So guys, that's it for today. I hope that helps you in some ways or in many ways. And if not, I hope it uplifted your day. Okay? Much love to you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.